going to dive into what to do when you have clients who push back and price shop.
Right. So when you have clients who basically do the opposite of make you want to go on vacation, or maybe just want to go on vacation forever and never come back, right? Because they're so difficult. And of course, we see designers talking about this problem every single day, right? I've got a client, they're pushing back, or they're shopping, around me and stuff. They're like, why is this so expensive? Can I find it cheaper? What about this as an alternative? So Nona, tell me a little bit about what that's really like for designers when they experience that.
Oh, I don't know if there could be a bigger bummer or a bigger joy sucker. Because designers are professionals. The relationship is meant to be one where you work with a professional because you trust their opinion. Designers have told me about sourcing for sofas, chairs, and then having clients send within minutes links to like Pinterest chairs or things on Wayfair, and just, well, why do we have to spend this much money? Why can't we do this? And that not only is there just like the grind of dealing with that and the joy that gets sucked out of designing, then it becomes a difficult relationship, which then becomes a difficult project, which then can lead to the whole vision of the design falling apart, the inability to get photography, and a general feeling of like, what am I doing with my life if I have to deal with these kinds of clients?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a huge bummer because basically, like, once your client starts telling you more or less what they want to do rather than you do your job, nothing good comes from that. Now, listen, we want to clarify, getting feedback from your clients, I mean, that happens with everybody. It's not like, you should just be, a god who presents your ideas and then your client bows down and prays to them and says, that's amazing. But we want more of that than clients saying, well, I don't want to pay that, or can we do it cheaper, or why does that have to cost so much? And at the same time, there's going to be a certain amount of education that goes into the process. So let's really dive deep into this, Nona. So first and foremost, what's the most important thing to do if you're in this kind of situation?
Don't get those kinds of clients. I mean, obviously, right? Because those kinds of clients, they just grind on you. They suck the joy out. It becomes less of a collaboration or even some feedback about not wanting a certain pattern on a swivel chair, and instead becomes wanting just cheap crap that is going to break in a couple of years. So really the first step is don't get those kinds of clients. And if you find yourself in that scenario, in this situation, either with a client currently or you've had just a series of these kinds of clients, then this is really the step to take. And that is to get to the bottom of why they're asking. Like why are they sending you images from Pinterest asking why the price is so different? Why are they, what is it that they're trying to figure out? Or what is it that they're trying to do by asking these questions?
Yeah, and let's take a step back because I think it's so critical. It's easy for us to say like, hey, don't work with those kinds of clients, right? And we don't mean to say that to be mean, because obviously if you're in that situation, it's too late. You're already working with them. But what we want you to think about is, think back about your progress on this project. Think about your initial client meeting. Think about your marketing. The problem is that everything you're dealing with in your business right now is 100% your fault. 100% of everything that everyone is dealing with in their business is their own fault, right? Because they created the systems, the processes, the marketing that brought those clients to them. And then the way that they had that relationship with that client has led to today. So if you're getting a little bit of pushback, I mean, look, that's normal. Like everybody in business and in working, you're going to have clients who ask questions. That's totally fine. What we're talking about is when it becomes a problem, when it's going from being innocuous questions to like ignoring you and ignoring your job and just trying to do your job for you, and severe pushback on prices where all of a sudden it seems like they didn't agree to what they agreed when you did your LOA, right? Like they're backing out of what they originally said, right?
And that's why it's important to get to the heart of why they're asking. Because you're right, like, they agreed to something and then all of a sudden it's gone sideways.
Or it looks like it's all of a sudden gone sideways.
Exactly. And so that's why getting to the heart, really understand, like, why are they asking? Is it that all of a sudden they lost their job and they don't have the money? Is it that they started to get wobbly on it because they don't really know what the process is, and so they are starting to take the reins? Is it that they got their sister involved who started to give them feedback? So you got to get to the heart of it, because once you get to the heart of it, to your point, Grail, that's when you can have supreme ownership. That's when you can get crystal clear on what happened that led to it. And if it is something about, your marketing, the process, communication, whatever it is, then you can also get crystal clear on what you want the outcome to be. Because just because it's sideways now doesn't mean that it has to stay that way forever, right? Admittedly, once it gets to this point in a relationship with a client, it does feel like the cast is die. The die is cast. That's when all of a sudden it just feels like, what am I doing? What is the point? I want to give up. I don't like them. They don't like me. And then it's just this downward spiral. And if that's happened, that's a different conversation. Or it's a different, conversation.
Yeah.
And what I want, and I know you do too, Grail, is to just focus in on learning from it. So being able to take that higher view, understand why are they asking, understand what you want the outcome to be, and then having that supreme ownership of making that change for either in the moment or for all future clients and projects.
Yeah. And you got to, when you're thinking about getting into the why, like, why are they asking this? First of all, you just have to ask them, why are you, what is the concern, or what is your concern, And a lot of times when you do this, you're playing detective. It's really important to understand that people, their behavior is a reflection of their mindset. It's a reflection of their emotional state and how they're feeling. So don't assume that you know why they're making that request.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. In fact, it probably has nothing to do with you at all. And that's why you have to play detective. You have to find out, why is this person asking these questions? And like Nona mentioned, like, did they lose their job? Is their spouse pushing back on the budget all of a sudden? And look, all of us, you've seen this, in the world of design, where designers all of a sudden are therapists, and they're, finding out they're dealing with like total, trauma and life changes and all kinds of stuff that happens. But you need to find out. You need to find out why these questions are all of a sudden, and why these concerns are appearing. Even just by asking, a lot of times you can actually solve it. Mm-hmm. Just by having the conversation and acknowledging it and talking about it, you can actually move forward. And then, as Nona says, if you just can't resolve it, then it might be a situation where you have to let that client go, right? You just have to cut your losses. And then at that point, it is so essential throughout this whole process to be thinking about what has led to this moment. And a lot of designers we talked to over the years, when they have a problem client, if we really push and we really ask them, they will admit that there were some red flags early on. Mm-hmm. Maybe multiple red flags. And at the time, what was the reason why they ignored them? Well, I needed the job, or I didn't, I was worried about the rent, or, whatever it might be. There's reasons, or I was like really excited about the project. I just loved it. And so I just kind of ignored all these red flags that were put up, where I was like, wait a second, maybe the back of my mind, I'm feeling like, maybe this is not going to be the right client. Nona, expound upon that a little bit more and tell us about that experience.
Well, yeah, because thank you. With some designers, it's not the awareness is there. The red flags become obvious, but they're heart-centered, if you will, and they're optimistic. So they know that what they can do will transform this prospect or this client's life. They know that the goal that that person has, they can help facilitate. They can actually make it happen. And that is a part of their calling. That is a part of what they do. And then they just get beat up for it. Or it happens over and over and over. And it just it just takes away that excitement and creativity and the desire, let alone what it does to one's bank account and personal life. But so to get back, they see it. They know that it happens because other designers talk about it happening to them too. They think, well, I know I can I can impact this person's life. It is a good project, or it is I want this job. I need this job, whatever that is. And then they're just drowning in text messages all night long. They really hope, they just want to throw not only their phone, but their computer out the window so they don't have to look at one more email with a Pinterest link or a Wayfair link or any of the other crazy things that can happen when these relationships go sideways and start the price shopping, the pushback, well, how much are you? I want to see your receipts. When those questions start to happen,
that's when you're in the danger zone. And that's the challenge, is that you're already in the danger zone.
Mm-hmm.
So what needed to happen before. What's happening now, I mean, you do the best you can in the situation, but it's actually almost too late in some ways. It doesn't mean you should give up, but just you have to understand you're working at a disadvantage. And what this is, fundamentally, is it's a lack of control. It's your client feeling, for whatever reason, that the designer they're working with is not in control and is not totally in charge of the project. So they feel that either they have to get in and micromanage it, or they've got some concerns, but the designer has not given them that boundary to say, I'm in charge. And you don't have to literally say that. You don't have to say to people, hey, it's nice to meet you, I'm in charge. But all of your actions, all of your behavior, all of your processes, even your marketing, they have to relay that message to your prospective clients. So when they become your clients, they understand that you are in charge.
Yes. And that's the proactive step, if you will. That is the step that, obviously when you're in it, you're drowning, you have to figure it out. And then when you have the ability, when you have that clarity of what is it that you wanted to happen, really, like, why are they asking these questions, is then to be the change you wish to see. Because when it comes to working with clients, you said it, and the thought that I had, they're like animals. Like, they can sense when all of a sudden
wild animals.
But they can tell when, like, oh, okay, so now I am alpha. And I'm tentative to use that example because it is not necessary to be bossy or to dominate or to control in order to be a boss. You can be graceful, you can be yourself, and you can stay in control. And the reason why, so in the change, right? Because some will say, oh, you need to blank, blank, blank in all of your meetings in order to control, or you need to blah, 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 right? The power comes from the change happening. It has to start with you. And it has to start with you. Because when the designer has that ability, that inner strength of being a boss, being charming, being graceful, being their creative, sometimes funky, eccentric self All those things can coexist. But it starts from that shift, starts from the inside, and then externally, the changes that then happen, attracting the right kinds of clients, attracting, then instead of why this, and emails full of alternative pieces, right, that were never agreed to but are found on the internet. Instead of that, you end up getting an email box full of yes, 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 approved, 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 approved. And those approvals, those yeses lead to good design, that lead to great photography, that lead to ideal clients referring you to other ideal clients. But you can't start there. It starts at the beginning, and it starts on so many levels.
Yeah, no, don't forget about high fees and collecting those high fees too. Because, one of our favorite stories recently, one of our clients telling us that, she was owed some fees by a client and they were chatting on the phone. Absolutely. Let me bring you the fee. And the client, our client said, well, we'll take care of it and whenever. And the client said, no, I insist. I'm going to drive it over to you right now.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of relationship, obviously, that you want with your clients, where you're not getting concerned about like, when are you going to collect your fees, but they're willing to get in the car and drive it over to you right now, because that's how much they appreciate you, how much they respect you as a professional, that when they owe you money, they're going to solve that right now.
Immediately. Yeah, that was such a highlight a couple of weeks ago, because it didn't happen with just one client driving over a check and putting it in her mailbox, but two. And then having a third client who said, oh, well, let me just put it in the mail for you right now. And whenever, just come by and get it.
Yep.
So there were 3 happy clients who put checks literally in mailboxes, some of them driving across town in order to make sure that their designer knew that or stayed happy, that their projects kept moving forward. And to really, like, one of them had this beautiful note of appreciation. It's just, that's what can happen. It's real. That's what
we're talking about. And the biggest change for this client of ours was really going from that place of uncertainty, of confusion, of not really understanding how to take that kind of control. Mm-hmm. And again, not to be bossy, but to be a boss, to be the person in charge. That's fundamentally what your clients are paying you for. In addition to your creative talent, it's for you to be in charge. Mm-hmm. And so, that the big shift for her is that evolution from uncertainty to certainty, mm-hmm. to kind of being more unsure of herself to being absolutely in control and absolutely certain this is the way it works. And of course you should drive over to my place and drop off this check. That's, where it's just like, oh, well, of course that's natural. So Nona, now the challenge is, of course, is that there's a lot of designers who are watching this who are not in that situation. Mm-hmm. They might be more on the level of like, they're in the place where they're more uncertain. They don't know where their next job is coming from. They're not sure about this payment that they're owed. They've got clients sending them stuff on, from Pinterest and mood boards from whatever, and, Wayfair ads and all kinds of stuff like that. What should people do if they need some help with this? If they are just stuck and they're like, I don't understand why I'm faced with this situation I have, which is one of the most common things we hear when we talk to designers. I just don't know why it's this way. Why is my business not working?
Why do I have these terrible clients? Why?
Exactly. How do they get all these bad clients? What's happening? My cash flow is messed up. What's happening? Why? What can they do?
So this is at the heart of why we are here. And that is to help designers get clarity, to really be able to understand where in the process this all started, and to really pinpoint it for that clarity. So if a designer wants that help, wants that insight, really wants to find that certainty, that confidence, that ability to stop attracting clients who have custom pieces ordered and then spray paint them black, you need to go to breakthroughcall.us. And this is the website. You'll go, Grail and I have open time on our calendar. And when you go to breakthroughcall.us, you will see some dates and times. Choose one. And there will be a few questions that we'll ask so that we can make sure that when we are on the call together, that we make the most of the time. So go to this website, breakthroughcall.us, select a date and time, answer the questions, and then we'll be there to help you and to really guide into how to make a change, how to be the change that you know is possible for you, or that you know is possible, you just don't know how to do it for yourself or your business yet.
Yeah, and these calls, they're only about 45 minutes. And at the end of those 45 minutes, what you get is that certainty.
Mm-hmm.
The first step is just knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know what to do, you've actually solved a huge part of your challenge, which is not knowing what to do, which is not knowing why it's not working. The first thing is you need to know what to do. And that's what we do on these breakthrough calls, is we come up with a plan for you for how to take charge of your business, to start getting the kind of clients you want, to get started in reaching out to you on a regular basis so there's no more feast or famine and you don't know where your next job is coming from. It's going to help you enormously with your confidence. It'll help you enormously with your cash flow. And truth be told, it's going to change your life. Whatever things are going on in your life right now where you're working 80, 100 hours a week or whatever, none of that has to be the case. You are totally in control of your reality, and you can totally change it to be whatever you want. And the first step is just to chat with us. Just talk with us and tell us what's not working. We will come up with a plan to make it work for you. And the best news of all, it's totally 100% free.
Complimentary.
What a great deal. And it's a lot of fun too. And we love it. We enjoy it. And book yourself a call. Come talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And until then, keep your flame. Don't let bad clients, bad systems ruin the joy and the inspiration and your creativity as a designer.
Yeah, so true. I mean, you are not your clients. In fact, you're not even your business. You are in control of these relationships and of your own business. If you just need to take a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more control, and you want some help doing that, that's what we're here to do, is to show you that you can. We don't do this for you. We don't come in there and change your life. You change your life, but we can help you see how to do that. And it's so much fun. So book that call.
All right. Well, until then, everyone, take care. G, thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.
Always a pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Nora.